It is like part of their bodies, though. It's just the way it is. So a college fraternity at Tulane University in New Orleans is causing an uproar with a long-standing tradition. Every spring, apparently, Kappa Alpha pledges build a wall on the property. This year, the wall had Donald Trump's slogans on it, which upset some students. They said it was a display of hatred. That wall has been torn down. Look at some of this video from this whole incident that happened. Allegedly, the Tulane football players tore it down, throwing the sandbags into the street because they think that Donald Trump is hateful, apparently. Look at this scene, right? Sterling Beard, editor-in-chief of Campus Reform. Sterling, welcome back to the show. What is going on here? How is a candidate's name something that is being interpreted this way on college campuses, where you would expect freedom of speech to be the rule of the land?
Well, it feels a little bit like we're living in the Harry Potter universe right now, because Donald Trump has become Lord Voldemort, literally he who must not be named. Now Donald Trump's name has somehow become a racialized aggression. This is the world that we're living in right now, and it's not just at Tulane. Take a look at, other schools out there, the University of Michigan, where you had Trump chalkings. We had the chalkening just a few weeks ago, and you saw repeatedly students and administrators decrying the use of Donald Trump's slogans or Donald Trump's name as microaggressive or hurtful to Latino and minority communities on campus. So what you're seeing now is exactly this sort of political progressiveness and progressiveness going on college campuses.
Yeah, explain to people what happened with the chalk, because I don't know if everybody heard that story.
Sure. Well, people began chalking, usually under the cover of night, Donald Trump's name or his slogans all around the country on various different college campuses. And it was very weird to watch it sort of spread organically. And what you saw was students and administrators freaking out because they took it as an attack upon their very existence. Just putting the word Trump or Make America Great Again or Build the Wall. That's the sort of thing that has become sort of, in a weird sense, hate speech to a lot of these folks on college campuses. It's completely outside the realm of what's rational, but it's the sort of thing that we see very often at the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform.
Yeah, what specific, because I think part of the problem with these situations often is that there's not enough discussion about the specifics and of what these candidates are saying. People sort of hear one thing or another, perhaps taken out of context, and it's fine if you want to dispute something, but you have to base it in the facts of what someone is actually saying. It can't just be, sort of run rampant like a snowball that takes on a life of its own.
Well, what's happening with this is that you're exactly right. There is no rational discussion of policies right now. The thing is that we have gotten to the point where rhetoric is so overheated on college campuses that you don't disagree with people now. You try to shut them up. You take Ben Shapiro going to a campus and they try to shout him down. They try to disrupt his speech. You do the same with Milo Yiannopoulos. There are so many instances of this where if you have a conservative thought, or not even a conservative thought necessarily, a non-progressive or at least insufficiently leftist thought, you are going to be seen as outside the orthodoxy, and people are going to try to shut you up because they can't stand hearing what you have to say.
I mean, really, it's the responsibility. When you send kids off to college, as I have, you want them to be challenged. You want them to think about other viewpoints than what they've heard at home. That's part of the process. But they have to hear, both sides in order to form their own opinions as they become adults. And that's something that seems to be really dramatically absent on most college campuses these days.
Absolutely, it's absent, and you sound like you have very good parental instincts, but the problem is that so many members of the millennial generation, my generation, never got that experience from their parents, never got that kind of guidance from their parents. They were raised by helicopter parents who were always ready to swoop in with a rescue mission or an airstrike and tell them that everything was going to be all right and that people were mean, and the worst thing that could happen to them was people being mean to them. And because they have never really experienced true, disappointment or having to deal with a lot of, controversy in their lives, when they get to a college campus, this gets blown way out of proportion because they make mountains out of molehills. Yeah. They've never dealt with the kind of aggression that they normally would in the real world.
And the scary part is once they get out of college and they face the real world, they do not have the tools equipped. They're not equipped with the tools to deal with people, to handle things that happen to them in life, and it's a pretty tough pattern that we're going to have to face with a lot of these folks. Sterling Beard, you're not one of them, though.
Thank you.
Very well-rounded young man. Thank you, Sterling. Good to have you here today.
Rescue or an airstrike, right?